Hammer house.
The school tries to hammer home the importance of homework.
Hammer. Martelar.
The boss hopes to hammer the firm's poor financial position home to the staff.
Martelar.
I tried to hammer home to Anne the fact that she would have to get a job. Recent advertising campaigns from the industry have hammered at these themes. He hammered home the message that his party would be tough on crime. The advertising campaign will try to hammer home the message that excessive drinking is a health risk. The politicians seem to think that they have to hammer home every policy for the public to understand it. Jonathan de Guzman hammered the ball home to make it 2-0.
Chutou forte.
Robin crossed the ball and Babel hammered it home. David White picked it up. He saw me standing alone. He crossed and I hammered it home.
On the ice.
If you try that, you'll really be on thin ice.
Finais, numa situação de risco.
The student was on thin ice because he was absent from class too many times. My brother was already on thin ice with the coach when he injured his knee. After failing the midterm, he was on thin ice with his math teacher.
Na corda bamba.
You may pass the course, but you're on thin ice right now. Ever since he was caught stealing office supplies, he has been on thin ice with his boss. That's too risky. If you don't want to find yourself on thin ice, you must be sure of your facts. He's skating on thin ice by lying to the police. When you deal with this subject, you skate on thin ice.
Você se coloca em perigo.
They knew that by publishing the article, they were skating on thin ice. He knew he was skating on thin ice when he took his rent money with him to the racetrack.
To twist someone's arm.
He twisted my arm behind my back and forced me into the car.
Torceu meu braço.
The policeman twisted my arm behind me and arrested me. The police twisted my arm and pushed me in their car. I didn't want to go to the exhibition, but Linda twisted my arm.
Me persuadiu.
I had to twist her arm a little, but she agreed. Do I have to twist your arm, or will you cooperate? If he doesn't want to go, you've just got to twist his arm to get him to do it. He might help us with the painting if you twist his arm. They had to twist his arm, but they got him to join the project. If you twist my arm, I'll stay for another drink. She didn't really want to go to the theater, but he twisted her arm. I wasn't going to come, but George twisted my arm. My wife really had to twist my arm to get me to apologize to my boss.
Beat a dead horse.
I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but I still don't understand what happened.
Beat a dead horse. Ficar batendo na mesma tecla.
Why do you insist on beating a dead horse by bringing up these ancient problems of ours? He already told you no, don't beat a dead horse.
Não demora em ponto de faca.
I've decided not to confess, so stop beating a dead horse. This conversation is over. Do you think it's worth sending my manuscript to other publishers? Or am I just beating a dead horse?
Chutando cachorro morto.
Politicians who favor the old single tax idea are beating a dead horse. Is it just beating a dead horse to ask for another recount of the votes? He keeps trying to get it published, but I think he's beating a dead horse. He keeps trying to get it published, but I think he's flogging a dead horse.
Malhando em ferro frio.
There's no use trying to keep this business going. We are flogging a dead horse.
Dando murro em ponta de faca.
You are flogging a dead horse, trying to persuade him to come with us. He hates going out at night. The teacher was flogging a dead horse when he lectured the students about the dangers of too much technology.
Don't sweat.
I got your back. Don't sweat it.
Não se preocupe.
I said don't sweat it. Look, don't sweat it. It's probably going to be easy. She wasn't human, mate, so don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Life's full of funny surprises. Don't sweat it. My dad's a cop.
Não se preocupe, meu pai é policial.
I mean, man, she's nothing. You know that. Don't sweat it. If your deal is that you don't have a crush, don't sweat it.
Não se preocupe.
Don't sweat it. I'm already looking for a new place to live. Don't sweat it. We've got plenty of time to get there before the show starts.
Cut corners.
They're always finding ways to cut corners.
Tomar atalhos.
I won't cut corners just to save money. I put quality first. We've had to cut corners to make a film on such a small budget. Cutting corners in production led to a definite loss in product quality.
Fazer economia.
If the accountant cuts corners, the auditors are sure to find out. I don't like to cut corners when I have company for dinner. We could finish this project early only if we cut corners. Companies are having to cut corners in order to remain competitive in the market. We couldn't get the money we needed, so we had to cut corners to make the film, and it shows.
Economizar. Cut corners. Walk tall.
I can still stand tall. I'm innocent.
Eu ainda posso andar de cabeça erguida. Sou inocente.
Stand tall, have courage, and never give up. Stand tall, have courage, and never give up. Our athletes stand tall in the knowledge that they did their best. As she walked up to the podium to speak, she reminded herself to stand tall.
Andar de cabeça erguida.
For the first time in living memory, we have a leader who can stand tall in international gatherings. When this is over, you'll be able to stand tall, knowing that you did the right thing by cooperating. The most important thing she taught us was to walk tall. I know I can walk tall because I'm innocent. You go out on that stage and walk tall. There's no reason to be afraid.
The truth of the case. Chase.
I think he enjoyed being successful and loved the thrill of the chase in business.
A emoção da caçada nos negócios. A emoção da caçada.
I thought I would outgrow enjoying the thrill of the chase, but I can't get over it.
Não posso superar.
Here are some reasons guys love the thrill of the chase. Father Duval, don't go in there. Don't go in there. The thrill of the chase, Captain. I know nothing about them, but as for love, what keeps you going is the thrill of the chase. This way, you could enjoy the thrill of the chase without the expense of owning a horse. He craved power over others, not so much for its own sake as for the thrill of the chase. People who adore the thrill of the chase know that prizes like diamonds are worth striving for.
Vale um empenho.
Well, I prefer to think of it as saving souls. And the thrill of the chase? The intellectual challenge? The thrill of the chase, the blood pumping through your veins, just the two of us against the rest of the world.
Quite a few.
The letter arrived quite a few days ago.
Vários dias atrás.
Do you need one? I have quite a few. We watched quite a few of the World Cup matches on TV. My job involves quite a lot of travel. There were quite a lot of them, so they were cheap. I've seen quite a lot of him recently because of his contacts in the music world. I have quite a bit, enough to spare some. He's quite a bit older than she is. There's quite a bit of snow on the ground. How many? Oh, quite a number. We've gotten quite a number of complaints. And she did acquire quite a number of objects like that.
To mean business. I mean business.
Stop laughing. I mean business.
Eu falo sério.
I see you mean business. I could tell from the look on her face that she meant business.
Que ela falava sério.
He really means business with this deadline.
Com esse prazo.
By the fire in his eye, we knew that he meant business.
Falava sério.
The border is sealed by troops who mean business. Google shifts focus to show it means business. Community colleges mean business. This team means business. We are not there to show off. We want to achieve something together. I could tell my teacher meant business when she said that she would fail me unless I completed my homework.
Get down to brass tracks.
Let's get down to brass tacks. We've wasted too much time chatting.
Vamos tratar do que interessa.
Don't you think that it's about time to get down to brass tacks? Let's get down to brass tacks. Who's paying for all this?
Vamos tratar do que interessa. Let's get down to brass tracks.
Stop delaying and get down to brass tacks. You've selected your fabric, so let's get down to brass tacks. Germany early got right down to brass tacks. But only one speaker really got down to brass tacks. Let's cut to the chase and get down to brass tacks. Congress finally got down to brass tacks last week and drafted a preliminary proposal. We finally got down to brass tacks and decided to work out a schedule for the project.
Against all odds.
She managed to win the trophy against all odds.
Contra todas as chances.
He was able to do it against all odds. Against all odds, she managed to win the trophy.
Contra todas as chances.
Against all odds, we had a snowstorm in early May. Against all odds, the slower team won. Against all the odds, he recovered. Against all odds, he was able to survive being stranded in the wilderness for a week with no food. When Canada defeated Brazil in the football final, it was an against all odds victory. Julie fell out of the moving train. She survived against all odds. Some women do manage to achieve business success against all odds.
Time and again.
I've noticed him doing it time and again, though of course I never said anything.
Repetidamente.
Time and again I have had to remind my son to study before going out with his friends. A professional actor is destined to repeat the roles he had been doing time and again. Last week on a tour of the United States, he repeated this message time and again. I've told you time and time again not to do that. We've been told time and time again that property taxes will go up next year.
Repetidamente.
He's a loyal knight. He's proved it time after time.
Time after time.
Time after time, you put everyone else first. Time after time, he was warned about the river rising. This is the pattern we have seen repeated time after time throughout history.
Head on.
The cars collided head-on.
De frente, head on.
The two bicycles collided head-on.
Collided.
She stepped out of the front door and walked head-on into her husband.
De frente.
The car crossed the road and hit a truck head-on. A head-on collision. I think we need to face this threat head-on. They decided to meet the opposition head-on. She's a serious writer who frequently tackles social issues head-on. Most of them are trying to avoid head-on confrontation with the government. The only way you get anywhere with a mad dog is to confront it head-on.
It takes one to know one.
You say she's a terrible cook? It takes one to know one.
Só os iguais se reconhecem.
He's a complete idiot. Well, it takes one to know one. You are a stupid oaf. So are you. It takes one to know one.
Só os iguais se reconhecem.
That looks like a man who knows how to fight dirty. Well, it takes one to know one. Well, that's what he claims. But I was thinking maybe it takes one to know one. He's headed for a world of pain. It takes one to know one. It takes one to know one, and good directors certainly know how to spot each other in a crowd. Bage proves here that it takes one to know one. It takes one to know one, goes the old adage. When it comes to streetwise con artists, it takes one to know one, it seems.
Miss the boat.
Pay attention, John, or you'll miss the boat and not learn algebra.
Perdeu a oportunidade.
Gene missed the boat on that club membership. He missed the boat when he applied too late to get into college. I missed the boat on that explanation.
Não entendi.
If you think you can do that, you have just missed the boat. I believe that people who think this issue is simply going to disappear have missed the boat. And feminism has missed the boat, Royf says, by focusing on the wrong things. I missed the boat on the essay question. My answer was wrong. I really missed the boat on the whole point of the subject.
Neck of the woods.
It was a pretty small farm for this neck of the woods.
Área.
I'm surprised to see you in this neck of the woods.
Por essas bandas.
Next time you're in this neck of the woods, drop in.
Deu uma passada. Drop in.
Imagine seeing her in this neck of the woods. It had been about a year since I'd been in that neck of the woods. He's from my neck of the woods.
Ele é da minha terra.
How is the weather in your neck of the woods? He's one of the wealthiest men in our neck of the woods. If you're in our neck of the woods, we hope you'll come see us.
Em nossa vizinhança.
What brings you here? There's no scenery like this in your neck of the woods, is there?
Big time.
He owes her big time for all the favors she's done for him.
Ele deve muito a ela por todos os favores que ela fez por ele.
He owes her big time for all the favors she's done for him.
Muito.
I got screwed big time when I signed that agreement. He really owes her big time for everything she has done for him. The school was into discipline, big time.
A escola gostava muito de disciplina. Big time.
How was the interview? Terrible. I messed up big time.
Eu fiz besteira pra valer.
I knew that when I made it through the last audition, I was finally in the big time.
Finalmente no estrelato.
She's a talented violinist, but she's not ready for the big time.
Não está pronta para o estrelato.
He hit the big time with films such as Ghost and Dirty Dancing. Matsuoka is the first player from Japan to really hit the tennis big time.
Wrap one's head around something.
I just couldn't wrap my mind around what had happened.
Me conformar.
It will take some time for me to wrap my head around these new procedures.
Me acostumar.
Kate is willing to pay full price for an expensive handbag, but I just can't wrap my head around that.
Não consigo entender isso. Can you explain this game to me? I just can't wrap my head around the rules. Entender as regras.
I find it hard to get my mind around such complex issues. Roberta always enjoys trying to get her head around the mysteries of the universe. Have you got your head around your new job yet?
On point.
None of the above comments are on point.
É relevante.
This hamburger is on point.
Está excelente.
His criticisms about the war were very much on point.
São relevantes, né?
You two are on point here. Everything you said is on point. As always, you're right on point with your descriptions, photos, stones, and cuts. My hair was on point. Her outfit was on point.
Elegante.
Janet's vocals were on point.
Excelente.
This food is on point. I'm definitely coming back.
Kill time.
My friend was late, so I killed an hour window shopping.
Passei uma hora vendo vitrines.
I killed time reading a novel.
Kill time.
The employees were not encouraged to kill time.
Passar o tempo ociosos.
We were early for our appointment, so we killed time at a bookstore. We usually play guessing games to kill time at airports. There was nothing to do, so I sat around killing time until dinner was ready. I am just killing time right now before my appointment. When I have to kill time, I usually check Facebook on my iPhone. I started washing the windows just to kill time. That was enough to kill a few good hours in the afternoon. When he reached the station, he found he actually had an hour to kill. On a holiday or on business, and have a few hours to kill and want to spend it well?
Red herring.
As Dr. Smith left, he said that the inquiry was something of a red herring.
Engodo. Red herring.
The question of celibacy is something of a red herring here.
É uma espécie de engano aqui.
It is also something of a red herring.
Pista falsa.
All this talk of deficits is just a red herring.
Uma pista falsa.
The detectives were following a red herring, but they're on the right track now. The mystery novel has a couple of red herrings that keep readers off guard.
Pistas falsas.
The versatility issue, it seems, is something of a red herring.
Espécie de distração.
The candidate used the minor issue as a red herring to distract voters from the corruption accusations against him. The mystery writer is known for introducing red herrings to arouse the reader's suspicion of innocent characters.
Off the wall.
An unpredictable, off-the-wall personality.
Excêntrica.
Teenagers love his off-the-wall comedy.
Inconvencional.
It can be done without following some absurd, off-the-wall investment strategy. An off-the-wall approach to humor. Why are you so off the wall today? This book is strange. It's really off the wall.
Excêntrico.
Your ideas are generally off the wall, but this one makes sense. An off-the-wall sense of humor. She is a very off-the-wall character.
Excêntrica.
His behavior today is off the wall.
In a hut.
We go to the seashore every summer. We're in a rut.
Estamos presos numa rotina.
After 10 years at the same job, she says she's in a rut.
Presa na rotina.
My life has gotten into a rut. I try not to get into a rut.
Preso na rotina.
David felt like he was stuck in a rut, so he went back to school. Anne was tired of being in a rut, so she moved to Los Angeles. At 40, my life was in a rut, so I gave up work and traveled to India. It's clear the economy is still stuck in a rut. I was in a rut and couldn't get out of it. I need to change jobs. After 15 years here, I feel I'm stuck in a rut.
Estagnado.
I feel like I'm in a rut because I don't know what to do with my life.
So to speak.
I am a writer, so to speak.
Por assim dizer.
He was, so to speak, the head of the family. Members of Congress were back in school today, so to speak.
Por assim dizer. So to speak.
We still don't have our heads above water, so to speak.
Por assim dizer.
John helps me with my taxes. He's an accountant, so to speak.
Por assim dizer.
I just love my little poodle. She's my baby, so to speak.
Por assim dizer, né?
I ought not to tell you, but I will, since you're in the family, so to speak. The 5 countries have now all passed, so to speak, their entry test. He's acting as a human fuselage, so to say. Until the next crisis, so to say.
It just goes to show.
This just goes to show that getting good grades in school doesn't mean you're clever.
Isso só prova que.
It's crazy and just shows the inconsistency of refereeing.
Só mostra.
The tax people finally caught up with Henry. See, it just goes to show.
Viu? Isso só prova.
It just goes to show that you can never trust reporters. It just goes to show you, Moira, there really is a balance to this universe. It just goes to show how much people judge each other by appearances.
Isso só mostra.
Which goes to show that the smart guys were right about something. I think it just goes to show you we're not doomed, that the human spirit is still capable of great things.
Doomed, condenados.
I feel this all goes to show just how important this resolution is. It goes to show that we can make changes in our energy mix in the future.
Hit the ground running.
The man was hitting the ground running, thinking big.
O homem começando a todo vapor, pensando grande.
The man was hitting the ground running, thinking big.
Thinking big.
The new administration should hit the ground running.
Começando a todo vapor.
We need to hit the ground running. I figured I'd settle in early, hit the ground running. As soon as the front office gave its approval for the new department, we hit the ground running. The squad will have to hit the ground running from the very first game. If elected, they promise to hit the ground running in their first few weeks of office. I want to hit the ground running with this. His previous experience will allow him to hit the ground running when he takes over the Commerce Department. I started my new job today. It was so busy I had to hit the ground running and had no time to get any training in.
Jumping through hoops. Jumping through hoops.
The company is jumping through hoops these days to try to please advertisers.
Está fazendo grandes esforços.
The boss expects the entire staff to jump through hoops for him.
Faça grandes esforços por ele.
This violinist will jump through hoops for the conductor.
Jump through hoops. Fazer grandes esforços.
It shouldn't be necessary to jump through hoops to get a computer to work properly. The insurance company made me jump through hoops before they'd give me a health insurance policy. Things happen fast when you don't have to jump through hoops. Because they're really making me jump through hoops.
Wall to wall. A wall-to-wall carpet. Tapete cobrindo o peso inteiro. The beat was wall-to-wall music. Para todos os lados, wall-to-wall. Wall-to-wall. The beach was all-to-all tourists. Turistas para todo lado. Wall-to-wall people at the reception. Rise and shine.
Come on, children, rise and shine. We're going to the beach.
Acordem e brilhem.
Father always calls rise and shine in the morning when we want to go on sleeping. Rise and shine, sleepyhead. You have to leave for school in 20 minutes. Get up, rise and shine. It's late. Wakey, wakey, rise and shine. It's time to rise and shine, sweetheart. You'd better rise and shine, or you'll be late for work. Rise and shine, sleepyhead. It's time for breakfast. Rise and shine. It's time to get up. Can't I just stay in bed a bit longer? Come on, kids. Rise and shine.
No such thing. There is no such thing as free lunch. Não existe almoço grátis. There is no such thing as dumb question. There is no such thing as free advertisement. There is no such thing as love. There is no such thing as completely truthful politician, he maintained. There are no such things as alien robots. Não existem robôs alienígenas. As the crow flies.
It's only about 100 miles as the crow flies to great ski country.
Em linha reta até.
How far is it from Cambridge to London? About 50 miles as the crow flies.
Umas 50 milhas em linha reta.
Our farm is only 5 miles from town as the crow flies.
Em linha reta, as the crow flies.
It's only a mile as the crow flies, but about 3 miles by this mountain road. The next town is 30 miles from here as the crow flies. I live at Mesa, Washington, about 10 miles as the crow flies from Hanford. Easingwold was 22 miles away as the crow flies. But we're only about 45 miles, as the crow flies, away from New Orleans. We're only 10 miles away as the crow flies, but it's an hour's drive by road. It's 6 miles to drive from my house to work, but only 3 miles as the crow flies.
Running on fumes. We are running on fumes here. Nós estamos quase esgotados aqui. The truck running on fumes. Quase esgotados. The Tigers were running on fumes and lost on Saturday night. Por fio. Running on fumes. Quase esgotados. Running on fumes. Quase esgotados. come to grips with.
A real tough problem to come to grips with.
Problema realmente difícil de se lidar. To come to grips with.
We must all come to grips with this tragedy.
Começar a lidar com essa tragédia.
I cannot come to grips with Ed and his problems. The whole community is struggling to come to grips with these kids' deaths. I can't seem to get to grips with this problem.
Lidar com esse problema.
The administration's first task is to come to grips with the economy. The government is having trouble coming to grips with the problem of rising oil prices. If Henry wants to be a successful executive, he'll have to get to grips with his fear of public speaking. British forces never came to grips with the enemy. Only then could the elite of Britain's armed forces really get to grips with the enemy. The armies finally came to grips at Stalingrad.
Treat with kid gloves.
The secretary treated her with kid gloves.
Tratava ela com delicadeza.
He's upset, so handle him with kid gloves today. I don't expect to be treated with kid gloves, you know. Jean is a little wacky. We will have to treat her with kid gloves. They know what they want, but you treat them with kid gloves. In presidential campaigns, foreign policy is treated with kid gloves. While he treated writers with kid gloves, he was unpleasant to everyone else. The campaign staff cautioned the candidate to handle the issue with kid gloves. We must take off the kid gloves and smash these evil monsters once and for all. Some artists have to be handled with kid gloves.
Of the cards. The economy was of the cards when he was governor, muito acima da média. First day sales were of the charts, além das expectativas. Totally off the charts, muito acima da média. His new car was off the charts. Excelente. Your recon skills are off the charts. Suas habilidades de reconhecimento são excelentes. Off the charts. Off the charts, fora do normal. Muito acima do normal. Off the charts. Their album is number 3 on the charts this week nas paradas. Jordan Barnes is at the top of the charts, no topo das paradas. Make a fool of.
Your brother is making a fool of you.
Está te fazendo de idiota.
Nobody makes a fool of Signor Giovanni and lives to tell the tale. He'd been made a fool of. I suddenly realized that I was being made a fool of. Life, however, has a habit of making fools of us. John made a fool out of himself at the party. The important thing is not to mind making a fool of yourself. He's always getting drunk and making a fool of himself at parties. John doesn't mind making a fool of himself at parties. He's making a fool of himself over that woman. Are you trying to make a monkey out of me?
Me fazer de trouxa?
Just watch him make a monkey out of this amateur chess player.
Fazer de bobo?
John made a monkey out of himself while trying to make a fool out of Jim.
A long time coming.
A heart attack was a long time coming.
Uma questão de tempo.
Well, he died while driving under the influence, but it's been a long time coming. What is wrong with Starfleet? How could they do this to him? This has been a long time coming. Isn't this a bit sudden? It's been a long time coming, but I guess I just really wasn't prepared. His promotion was a long time coming.
Muito atrasada.
It's been a long time coming. He's going to apologize. It's a long time coming. Big day for both of us. Yeah, long time coming. Being here with you guys this summer has been a long time coming. Brian, it's amazing. Well, this trip's been a long time coming. Figured I'd go big.
Put into perspective.
It helps to put their personal problems into perspective.
Ajudar os problemas, a colocar os problemas pessoais deles em perspectiva.
This kind of tragedy puts a mere basketball game into perspective. If we put the matter into perspective, I think we can discuss it reasonably. Let's try to talk about both sides of the issue and put it in perspective.
Colocar em perspectiva.
It really puts things into perspective that really, if you try, you can do anything you want to do. Remember to keep things in perspective. Let's try to keep everything in perspective. Let's keep it in perspective. It's me that's got the cancer. You can put your worries into perspective when you realize how many people in the world are so much worse off than you. Seeing the devastation caused by a natural disaster like that really puts our petty gripes and problems in perspective, doesn't it?
Best of both worlds. O melhor dos dois mundos. I have the best of the both worlds, a wonderful family and a great job. O melhor de ambos os mundos, quando se trata da cultura. The best of both worlds. Lock, stock and barrel, o que significa? We just bought it Lock, stock and barrel. Nós acabamos de comprar na totalidade. Lock, stock and barrel. Comprar por completo. Lock, stock and barrel. Lock, stock and barrel. When the chips are down.
When the chips are down, she's very tough.
Quando a situação fica crítica, ela é bem durona.
When the chips are down, you need to make tough decisions. When the chips are down, you won't get any help from her. When the chips are down, he proves to be a loyal friend. When the chips are down, I know that I can depend on Jean to help out.
Quando a situação fica crítica,
I knew you would come and help when the chips were down. One day when the chips are down, you will know who your true friends are. When the chips were down, all the children came home to help their mother. A truly mean player won't hesitate to play dirty when the chips are down. When the chips are down, you need people around you that you can depend on.
knock yourself out. Knock, hey man, can I have some beer? Yeah, knock yourself out. Ei cara, posso pegar uma cerveja? Sim, fica à vontade. Fica à vontade. Knock yourself out. He fell, knock himself out and lay unconscious for hours. Ele caiu, desmaiou e ficou inconsciente por horas. Knocked me out. Me deixou inconsciente. Knocking myself out. Desmaiando. I was knocking myself out to finish on time. Eu estava me exaurindo para terminar a tempo. Knocking yourself. High and dry. Here I sit high and dry. No food, no money, nothing. Desamparado. High and dry. Desamparado. She'll be left high and dry. Sem amparo. Paying the bills always leaves me high and dry. Sem recursos. Sem apoio. High and dry. Liz come out of the argument high and dry. Elisa. The waters recede and left us high and dry. E deixou-nos intactos. high and dry. Have a good time.
We're gonna have a good time. Have a good time today. All right. I hope you have a good time at the beach. I'm leaving for the party now. Have a good time. We're ready to go camping. Well, have a good time. Mel and Calvin, after getting married, will have a good time. Come on, we're all just trying to have a good time. Just go out back and have a good time. Tonight is the formal dance at the Palmer house, and I'm going. Have a good time. We sat in the locker room and drank beer, ate pizza, watched a movie. You know, a good time.
As a matter of fact, I did vote for her. As a matter of fact, eu votei para ela, na verdade. As a matter of fact, na verdade.
It's not that difficult. As a matter of fact, it's quite easy. I'm not a poor worker. As a matter of fact, I'm very efficient.
Na verdade, as a matter of fact.
Was he in a bad mood? No. As a matter of fact, he seemed fairly cheerful. Are you new around here? As a matter of fact, I've lived here for 10 years.
Get cold feet.
Suddenly I had cold feet and couldn't sing a note.
De repente eu fiquei nervoso e não conseguia cantar uma nota. But I had cold feet. Fiquei com medo.
I consider fleeing, but this is no time to get cold feet.
Cold feet.
I'm worried she may be getting cold feet about our trip to Patagonia.
Estou preocupado que ela possa estar mudando de ideia. Getting cold feet. Got cold feet. Ficam receosos. I got cold feet. Fiquei com medo.
We're getting married next Saturday. That's if Trevor doesn't get cold feet.
Ficar com medo.
Apparently one, or possibly more, of the investors may have gotten cold feet.
A whole new ball game. Make the film was a whole new ball game for her. Fazer o filme foi uma experiência completamente nova para ela.
Now that you're here, it's a whole new ball game.
Situação completamente diferente.
I think when the Lennons were there, it was a different ball game. I have no children of my own, so this is a whole new ball game for me.
Been over your head.
Calculus is very hard for me. I'm in over my head.
Estou além das minhas capacidades.
Johnny, don't go out too far. You are in over your head.
Você está se precipitando.
He tried to stop, but he was in over his head.
Ele tentou parar, mas estava além da sua capacidade.
Historians say that as president, Harding was a man who was in over his head.
Além das suas capacidades.
After my first lead role, I knew I was in over my head, so I started training in acting and martial arts.
Sit tight.
Just relax and sit tight. I'll be right with you.
Apenas relaxe e espere pacientemente. Sit tight. Sit tight, espere
Just sit tight while I go and phone for help.
Sit tight. Aguarde pacientemente.
Sit tight right here, and I'll be back in a moment. I'm going to sit tight till I hear from you. Shareholders are advised to sit tight and see how the situation develops. Sometimes you need to sit tight and wait for it to happen.
Manter-se firme. Sit tight.
But anyway, hang tight. I'm sure it's just a matter of time.
Fica firme.
So just, everybody hang tight. He'll be fine.
Hang tight. Over the top. Some performances go over the top. São exageradas. Over the top.
This comedian's style goes over the top.
Passa dos limites. Over the top.
Failed, over-the-top attempts at humor.
Over the top.
We didn't go over the top. We didn't even get half of what we set out to collect.
Nós não superamos a meta. Up to speed.
Can we get this production line up to speed?
Essa linha de produção no ritmo desejado. Up to speed.
Terry did everything she could to bring her workers up to speed, but couldn't.
No tempo desejado.
I expect to be up to speed very quickly and to meet the government's review timetable.
Please bring me up to speed on this matter. Por favor, me atualize sobre este assunto.
I'll feel better about it when I get up to speed on what's going on. It took a long time for the FBI to get up to speed on computer crime.
Se atualizar sobre esses crimes computacionais.
She spent the next 5 minutes bringing them up to speed.
Turn down for what? Parar a farra pra quê? Turn down for what? Pra quê? Turn down for what? The cops and my dad. Turn down for what?
Turn down for what? I have a test tomorrow. I have a headache, and my mom is sleeping upstairs. Darshan was very excited for the weekend, so he asked Jamal to turn down for what? Yeah, and we turned down for what? Nothing. You know what I'm saying? I honestly don't, but I love how you say it.
A penny for your thoughts.
For several minutes they sat silently. Then finally she looked at him and said, "A penny for your thoughts, Walter."
O que se passa em sua mente, Walter?
"A penny for your thoughts." "Oh, I was just thinking about how to tell him I'm leaving."
O que se passa em sua mente?
"You've been awfully quiet tonight, honey. A penny for your thoughts."
A penny for your thoughts. Thoughts. Que estás a pensar?
"You seem pretty serious. A penny for your thoughts." "You have been quiet for a while. A penny for your thoughts."
Thoughts. Apples and oranges. It's like apples and oranges. There is no comparison. É como alhos e bugalhos. Não há comparação.
"But perhaps we're comparing apples and oranges."
Alhos and bugalhos.
"You and them? It's like apples and oranges." "But publishers argue that the report mixed apples and oranges."
Alhos e bugalhos.
Talking about her current book and her previous bestseller is like comparing apples and oranges. You can't compare inner city schools and schools in the suburbs. They're apples and oranges. Comparing the grades of English students to engineering students is like trying to compare apples and oranges.
Take with a grain of salt.
I've read the article, which I take with a grain of salt.
Eu li o artigo, o qual eu tomo com uma certa desconfiança. A grain of salt.
Take every single thing I say here with a grain of salt.
Com grau de desconfiança.
Before elections, all parties make a lot of promises. They are best taken with a grain of salt.
Com olhar de ceticismo.
I'm taking his article with a grain of salt because it seemed to be specifically crafted to promote more drama. I take anything he says with a large pinch of salt. Again, it's an unsubstantiated claim, so take that with a grain of salt. Sue says the internet is great, but she takes a lot of the information there with a pinch of salt.
Com uma certa desconfiança. Go out of one's way.
I'll have to go out of my way to give you a ride home.
Eu vou ter que me desviar do meu caminho para lhe dar uma carona até em casa.
I'll give you a ride, even though I have to go out of my way. We went out of our way to please the visitor. They really went out of their way to make us feel welcome. They deliberately went out of their way to be friendly. She frequently goes out of her way to help people in need. I wouldn't mind some help, but please don't go out of your way for me. Mrs. Mott went out of her way to be courteous to Sarah.
Fez esforço excepcional. On the rocks.
Their marriage is on the rocks.
Está à beira do precipício. On the rocks. Our film industry is on the rocks. À beira do precipício.
Joe and Tammy's relationship is on the rocks. My best friend was really rude to me, and now our friendship is on the rocks. Our accountant says the business is on the rocks.
I'd like mine on the rocks, please. Gostaria o meu com gelo. On the rocks, com gelo. The elephant in the room.
Increasing poverty in the world is the Western politician's elephant in the room.
Elefante na sala.
The elephant in the room between couples is often money or what to do with aging parents. There was an elephant in the room when I spoke with my mother because she hates my new boyfriend. It's the elephant in the room that everybody avoids talking about, isn't it? Right now, immigration is the elephant in the room. It was like there was an elephant in the room that couldn't be addressed.
Butter on ice.
Both projects have been put on ice until they can be paid for.
Foram engavetados até que possam ser custeados.
The recommendation was put on ice.
Foi colocado em espera. Por on ice. Foi adiado. Por on ice.
We'll just have to put him on ice until we have more facts to go on. The whole deal was put on ice when the stock market fell sharply. They will be kept on ice for future use, I replied. The European Partnership, meanwhile, is on ice and likely to remain so.
On ice. You don't put someone like her on ice. Please, put the soda pop on ice. Por favor, coloque a soda no gelo. Lose it. Perdeu o controle.
I sat there calmly, biting my lip to keep from losing it.
In the end, I completely lost it. Perdi o controle. Enlouqueceu, lost it.
When the teacher's chair broke, the class completely lost it.
Caiu na gargalhada.
Oh God, I think I'm going to lose it.
Oh, God, eu acho que vou vomitar.
Go lose it in the bushes.
Vai vomitar nos arbustos.
He can still play tennis well. He hasn't lost it yet. When you think about all she's done for the sport, it's kind of sad. But she's completely lost it over the past few years.
Around the clock.
I've got a team working around the clock.
Eu tenho uma equipe trabalhando ininterruptamente. Around the clock, ininterruptamente. Around the clock.
This station broadcasts news round the clock.
24 horas por dia. Around the clock.
Come on, I have been working around the clock. I deserve a break.
In no time. I'll be there in no time. It won't take long. No instante. Vou estar aí no instante.
I pulled my blanket around me and in no time was fast asleep. You'll be finished in less than no time.
Em menos de um instante.
I finished my homework in no time so I could watch TV. I'll be done in no time. Then we can go to the mall.
No instante. Get something out of your system.
I couldn't deal with this anger and I had to get it out of my system.
E eu tive que me livrar dela.
Yelling is an ace way of getting stress out of your system.
Gritar é uma ótima maneira de extravasar o estresse. Getting stress out of a system.
There's a lot of anger in me and I have to do something to get it out of my system. I had a good cry and got it out of my system. I can't get it out of my system. I want to go back to school and earn a degree. I got riding roller coasters out of my system when I was young.
And gets it out of her system. Sacie a vontade. Let of the book. Thanks for letting me off the hook. Obrigado por me livrar desta barra.
I couldn't get myself off the hook no matter what I tried.
Eu não conseguia. I like to get him off the hook.
She let him off the hook, since that also meant letting herself off the hook. Once they found the real culprit, they let Mary off the hook.
Cut some slack. Dá um desconto pra ele. Cut him some slack. Cut him some slack.
Should reporters cut General Clark some slack?
Folga ao general.
Maybe this is what cutting yourself a little slack feels like.
Dá uma folga.
I'm going to cut you some slack. Because it's the last day of classes, we don't have to talk about anything serious today. If you and your kids don't agree about their futures, cut them some slack. Explain your views, but don't try to force them to agree.
Cut him a little slack. Dê um tempo para ele.
He's the new kid on the block and doesn't know the way we do things around here yet. Cut him some slack and let him learn from this.
Yes.
Mom, cut me some slack. I'm a good kid. I never do anything wrong. Just let me stay out an hour later tonight. They have only been in power for 6 months. Cut them some slack. She cuts her husband some slack when she takes out the garbage for him.
Play cards close to chest. He's very cautious. He plays his cards close to his chest. Ele é bem cauteloso. Ele joga as cartas próximas ao peito.
You never quite know what Barry's going to do next. He keeps his cards very close to his chest. You seem to be playing your cards close to your vest.
Você está parecendo ser dissimulado.
So far, the special prosecutor has kept his cards close to his chest. My boss always plays his cards close to his chest when he is negotiating with another company.
Make good.
He's a local boy made good.
Ele é um garoto local bem-sucedido. Made good. Made good, obteve sucesso.
A college friend who made good in Hollywood.
Bem-sucedido. Made good.
I came to make good on what Jack promised. He was confident the Allies would make good on their pledges. Certain that he was going to make good on his threat to kill her, she lunged for the gun.
Fazer valer a ameaça de matá-la.
Tom made good on his pledge to donate $1,000. I couldn't make good on my debts, and I got in a lot of trouble.
Eu não podia quitar nenhuma das minhas pendências.
I want to make good on that loan I got from Joan.
Eu quero quitar aquele empréstimo que tomei de Joan.